The element of metal is associated with this season of autumn. And that means the organs that are the most sensitive during this season are the lungs and the colon. So that means that we want to eat foods that are going to help nourish those two organs of letting go. Today, I'm going to make a really yummy veggie nachos. You're going to love this. It's one of my staples at home, and I make loads and freeze it. And this is a good thing to do in the warmer seasons because then you can just make lots of food and have it ready. So in my beautiful solid Technic pan, I'm putting a good slug of olive oil. This is the base for the nachos. This is my base. Everyone does it differently, but I love it like this. Okay. So in my white bowl, which is the color for metal, and the Western concept of air is also associated to metal here. So white onion in there, and then I'm going to add some garlic, coriander stem. So coriander is a pungent flavor, and that's one of the flavors, well, the main flavor we need now with this element. So pungent opens up bronchioles and helps the colon to let go. Wasabi, horseradish, coriander, ginger, those things that make you go, whew, and open up your lungs. Okay, so we're going to just give that a little stir now, and I want to put my spices in. Okay, if you add a little bit of salt to your onions, it's going to help them soften faster and better. All right, now I'm going to put a whole lot of warming spices in here. It's kind of an Indian flavor to it, so it might be weird for most of you, but it's honestly, put fenugreek in your nachos. You'll love me forever for that. Plus, fenugreek helps balance blood sugar, and it's brilliant for colon and lung health. So let's put in about a tablespoon. I put quite a lot of spices in my food. Mexican seasoning. So this has got paprika in it. If you don't have Gourmet Organics Mexican seasoning, just use paprika. Use smoked paprika. That just went right into my bronchioles. So this is how we know also it's good for our lungs. Cumin seeds and turmeric, anti-inflammatory, estrogenic, helps push excess estrogen out of your liver. You're going to give that a little stir until the spices start to stick on the bottom like that. So we're going to cook them out. So this whole recipe is going to be brilliant for the symptoms that metal/air types get. So it's upper respiratory things, colds, flus, low immunity, asthma, unresolved coughs, just those, long-term coughs, and a sluggish bowel. So the lungs rule the skin. So metal types, or all of us in autumn, get skin things. We get dry skin, dry bowel. Okay, now we want to put in the veggies. So I'm putting in celery, zucchini, mushies, all at once. Okay, give that a little stir, coat it all. Look at that, beautiful. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to stop it sticking on the bottom, because I don't want to add my tomatoes yet. I want this to cook just a little bit. This is the secret of tasty cooking. Cooking out your veggies first with your spices. Just for a moment, I want to mention to you that unresolved grief can really come back and get you again in autumn. So if you've pushed grief down, grief and sadness, which are the emotions that are associated with the metal element, then you'll find that every autumn you get a bit of a cough and you get a bit sad and your bowels aren't feeling so great. And it's amazing, really. I first noticed this years ago, and I was like, why do I get weepy and sad every autumn? I had some unresolved grief that just came up every autumn. So the grief comes up if it's unresolved, and you'll feel it in your colon and you'll feel it in your respiratory tract as asthma, as wheezing. Because when we get sad, we do this. So the lungs get stagnant. We get stuck. So we feel really stuck with the sadness, and we feel stuck in our lives if there's unresolved sadness and grief. All emotions, but with metal air in autumn, it's the sadness and grief. So I often see people in clinic with long-term asthma and coughs, and we get back to that, they lost a child 20 years ago, or they had a breakup they're never quite over. So it really gets stuck in your lungs and colon, which are the organs of elimination, of letting go. So if you haven't quite let go yet, autumn's going to let you know that you haven't. So in here. So I want to put some kidney beans and some navy beans. You can use cannellini beans. You can use whatever beans you want. Use a BPA-free tin so it isn't lined with xenoestrogens, which are nasty chemicals that clog your liver up and disrupt all of your hormones. So it'll tell you on the side, BPA-free. So it's no plastic in the lining. So I've just drained these. I'm going to use half a can of each because I think my pan is going to overflow otherwise. As I said, I usually use a big Solar Technic pan, like one of those babies up the top there, so I can freeze some. Okay, give it a good stir, coat again, and imagine you're letting go. You're Elsa in Frozen, you're letting go of things you don't need anymore. Okay, stir. And then I'm going to add a BPA-free of canned tomato. You can use passata if you like. Again, half a can. I would normally use a full can, but I'm halving the recipe here. So this is just about ready. The mushies are a really good addition here. They just give it a really nice depth of flavour in autumn. Okay, so this is the fun part. Look at my cute little masher. It's perfect for this. Just because with nachos you want to have some mushed up beans, but you don't want them all mushed. Don't mash it so you've got a puree. You don't want refried beans. You want it just like that. Okay, so let that simmer and the whole house is going to smell like autumn and like you're letting go. Think letting go. Metal is about deep breaths, finding out what's in there and letting it go. So expiration and inspiration. So we need to expire, breathe out to let go in order to inspire, breathe in. And inspire is the root of the word inspiration. So we can't get creative and inspired if there's a whole lot of stagnant grief and sadness stuck in here. So it needs to go in order to let the inspiration in. Okay, let's make some guacamole while this is simmering. I have got red onion, red capsicum, yellow capsicum. You don't need both. I just had both, so I'm using both. And then I want to put in some avocado, of course. So let's go with my big knife. Beautiful. So let's get this avocado in there. And another one, you know how to make guacamole, most of you, I'm sure. And then I'm going to put some lime in, lime rind, like the zest. That's a really good little tip for guacamole. And then I'm going to squeeze that lime in. So also think about the symptoms associated with this element of metal are skin conditions. So eczema is a big one. Dry skin in autumn. Everything's dry in autumn. Everything just dries out. That's why we have this dry cough and constipation, and we can get a bit disconnected. That's the air element as well. We can just not feel in our bodies and a little bit aloof and distracted. So we want to get grounded again. So these beans are going to help ground us, and lots of veggies will help ground us as well. I want to put some Mexican seasoning. So either you can put in cumin, not too much, it makes it brown, or smoked paprika, or a Mexican seasoning like this. It's got cumin and paprika and garlic in it already. So now I'm going to get my little masher. Not completely, I want chunky bits in here. So remember, onion and garlic help break up phlegm that gets stuck in our respiratory tract. So they're really great to include in autumn. Same with vinegar, but white onions especially. I mean, you can use just the juice of white onions and have a teaspoon of that when your lungs are really congested. Okay, so just see, I didn't mash it a lot. And then I want to add some salt and coriander. So I use the stems and the leaves there. Okay, so I reckon we're ready to put the nachos in. So you can eat them just like that, and you can have them with rice. I actually get the leftover mixture of this and make little spelt pie cases, and so you've got a bean nachos pie. Highly recommend that. Or you can get some puff pastry, even the organic spelt pastry, and make little sausage rolls and cut them up into little bits and freeze them for kids' lunches. That's just really yummy. Okay, this is a fun part besides eating it. So we have the yellow corn chips. You can use blue ones in winter. I like using the lighter coloured ones now. Turn your flame off so you don't burn yourself. And let's scoop on top. So this is how I like to do it, but you can serve it in the middle of a table and put your corn chips separately. After lots of trial and error, this is how I like to do it. The beans need to be warm before you put them in the oven because the cheese is going to melt so fast that the beans won't be warm. And that's just awful when you serve your nachos and you've got nice gooey cheese and cold nachos. No one's happy about that. Okay, this is looking divine already, isn't it? You're just happy autumn's coming so you can make this. Organic, organic tasty cheese. I make 2 of these normally and leave the cheese off for people who don't want to eat cheese. I don't eat cheese as a rule, but I do when I eat nachos, especially organic, and I have no problem digesting it. But if you do, just leave it out. And if you're going to use it, don't skimp on it. Cover it all. And even all those little chippies around there. Look at this beautiful solid technique. Stainless steel pan. It's just beautiful. Okay, in the oven. You can just put it in the grill, really, because it's warm. So now we just do this. Hurry up. And while we're waiting, I just want to take a moment to thank our great sponsors, Gourmet Organics, for these beautiful spices that they've provided. When I first started to think about making this series, I started to think about which products I wanted to use, and herbs and spices I knew were going to play a huge part in my recipes. So I looked in my cabinet. It was full of Gourmet Organic, so they were the obvious people to approach. Luckily for us, they said yes. The reason I love these herbs and spices so much is that their food is medicine. And in yesteryear, we knew that what was in our pantry was our medicine chest. Food is medicine at its finest. Somehow we've forgotten this along the way, but we're starting to remember. For example, cumin. You can sprinkle a little bit of that in some hot water and use it for any digestive problem. Fennel, the same, for bloating or cramping in your tummy. Use the dried oregano for making za'atar or dukkha. It's an antibiotic. I mean, I just sprinkle that on everything. I love it so much. Turmeric. You don't need to buy expensive golden milk powders. Just use turmeric and some raw honey or maple syrup there. The other reason I love them is because of the range of sizes. So these are great size at home for any home cook. Or if you're a bit like me, you might want to get this size so you can refill the bottles. If you're working in a kitchen or you're a chef, this big jumbo size is brilliant for refilling big jars. Or if you don't cook that much or you live in a small space, just get these small 30-gram packets. If you're keen to try these products and get them in your pantry, Gourmet Organic are offering my viewers a nice little discount. So check out the link in the description. So you keep looking in the oven to make sure that the cheese isn't burning. So that's been about 10 minutes, but this is a really fast oven, and make sure you don't burn yourself when you go in there. So I'm using one of my beautiful Nordhaus linen, beautiful tea towels. So if you love their stuff and you would like to check out more, the link is in the description, and they've offered a discount to my viewers as well. So this is your nachos. Here's my guacamole. This is how I do it. Obviously, because it's my show. You do it however you like. Guacamole on top. And then I'm getting some sour cream. Organic. Dairy has to be organic. I mean, ideally it's organic. So, and it's so much better, honestly. It's divine. Got a little bit of sour cream or a lot of sour cream. You can serve that separately, obviously, because some people mightn't want that. And then I'm going to put some spring onions over the top because I love spring onions on guacamole. I know you're salivating. So if you've got a friend who, or yourself, who is having trouble with some of this grief, before you invite them over to share this, why don't you suggest some pranayama, some deep breaths? So before we eat, like a prayer, sit down, have 12 deep breaths, then you'll cry all the way through dinner because you're letting it go. But after nachos and letting it go and having a little talk about it, not dwelling there on it, just acknowledging it, it's not serving me anymore, off it goes, cry, thank each other, and then you've been dealing with your metal/air element and you've had a great feed and you're feeling really good. So if you love this info or you think other people might, go to my page and like it, because there's lots more information to come, and I love doing this, so it helps me keep doing it.